Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/bonfireside chat. There's over 100,000 titles to choose from, and they work on your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, or your MP3 player.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
My name is Will Owens.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat Appendix, an undead second favorite.
And this week we are talking about your corrections from the Lost Izalith and your responses to the area of the Catacombs and the Tomb of the Giants. It's getting ever more complex, Gary.
Pre-tape call-in show.
Yeah. That is probably our most salient reference, I think.
Yeah, it's because it's so good.
Yeah.
And we should probably, it's not just the corrections about that area. It's just kind of corrections in general, because we'll get them from a couple episodes back as we can see here. Mm-hmm. So let me get started with Take.
Yeah.
And he says, random lost in translation stuff for the Duke's archives. The Pasakas are called Cilias in the Japanese version, based on the Greek myth of a woman getting turned into a tentacle monster. Mm-hmm. Searching for Scylla in Japanese Google nets the half-naked tentacle women that one would expect. Don't do that.
Attaboy. Attaboy, Japan.
Yeah. The Japanese wiki on the Crystal General calls him the Crystal Knight. There's a comment on the page saying, why is he called the Crystal General in English? What's wrong with the Crystal Knight? And there's a note saying that the Avalon found in the game in the same area has a pattern similar to the gear that this guy is wearing. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. I did not notice that. In Japanese, the channelers are known as the Six-Eyed Evangelist. My favorite Rockin' Billy band.
Rockin' Billy.
Yeah, Rockin' Billy.
It's all people named Billy.
The Six-Eyed Evangelist sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Some more random stuff I happen to dig up. Pretty much all of this is from the Japanese Dark Souls wiki at this link, which we'll include in the show notes for those who speak Japanese. Mm. Here's an obscure link between the Souls games. The Firekeeper Souls in Japanese are called Souls of the Firekeeper Maidens. In Demon Souls, the Maiden in Black is known as the Candle Maiden or Firekeeper Maiden in Black in Japanese. Her eyes are occluded with wax. The Dark Souls maidens are mute or deformed, all of them sacrificed for their cause. Lautrec is known as the Knight of the Goddess. Titanite demons are known as chiseled away demons, hence their missing parts. Shiva's title is Chief Hunter. And further, a random question. Is Ingrid wearing a Plague Doctor mask? Because I feel like the defiled ones from Demon Souls are based on the Plague Doctors, since they all have to do with disease, and the beaky masks are creepy. Anyway, Ingrid is known as Ingrid the Healer, as well as referred to as Guardian of the Seal in Japanese.
All of that is really, really fascinating. I eat that shit up. I'm really sorry that this is late. You sent this in like a couple of weeks ago. It just didn't make it into the previous appendix. So we are doing this is our penance.
Yeah.
But yeah. Good.
No, I was just gonna say it definitely looks like a Plague Doctor mask to me. It's like seems like a reference, and the idea of them not so much when they're a healer or a sealer, but when they go down to kind of try to cure Blighttown.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But it definitely looks like a visual reference to me.
Yeah.
And all the rest of the stuff is like super interesting. The Six-Eyed Evangelist sounds great.
Yeah.
That's an awesome, like super creepy name and draws attention to the fact they have 6 eyes.
Yeah. Not just 6 eyes on their mask, although it could possibly still be that.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? Will, what does Alan say?
Okay. Alan wrote in via contact. He says, you guys were talking about Solaire being the firstborn in this past episode, and you mentioned that the statue at the Sunlight Shrine bonfire was also holding a Sunlight Straightsword. This is a really popular lore tidbit that gets passed around, but I think it is untrue. I first heard of the statue baby clutching the sword on Vatya's Lord video about Solaire. I decided to go look at the statue up close. There totally is a sword although it's hard to say if it is of any particular kind. There are 2 other statues that use this 3D statue model in the game. One is the statue in the parish church that Rhea prays to. She doesn't play the statue. And the other is in a bricked-up room in the Catacombs. All 3 statues are the same, and the baby is holding the same sword in all 3. Huh, that's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
The statues are clearly a reference to each of Gwyn's children. The one in the Catacombs has a corpse leaned against it with the Dark Moon ring. This is Gwendolyn's statue. The one in the parish church has a row of maidens in armor between the pews and the front door. This is Guinevere's statue. And of course, the final statue is near the broken idol of the god of war. And so this is the firstborn statue. The sword is the same at all 3 statues, though. Excuse me. In the Dark Souls concept art book that From released, you can see that the actual design of the sword the baby is holding, and it is clearly not the Sunlight Straight Sword. It has a lot of scroll work on it, while the Sunlight Sword is very plain. The important thing with the statues is that their relationship with the setting they are each in, not anything on the statues. It would be great if there was a direct connection to Solaire with the statue, like having a part of his gear, but it is simply a popular myth in the lore community. It is not his sword. Personally, I agree with you guys on Solaire being the best guess for the firstborn, and I wish there was a stronger case to be made. But at the same time, the vagueness is what gives us room to invent our own version of the story. And he's included some in-game shots of the sword at other statues and in the concept art as well.
Yeah.
So, sorry if I... that's a long passage.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry you landed there. But that is a lot of work. A lot of legwork that went into it.
Yeah, to check and see to make sure it's not the same sword. I knew the statue reappeared elsewhere, but I just assumed that they were all, either like statues that didn't get got, or anything like that. Yeah, but you're probably right that it's not you've done the research. It's not the same sword. And I haven't gotten the art book yet. They just released it in English, and I've pre-ordered it, but I have not gotten a chance to look at that yet.
Yeah, the image is pretty convincing, honestly. That he links in there, but yeah. I mean, I'll buy it as that not being his sword. I think that there's probably enough other, not evidence but conjecturable, blobbity bloop to make it worth. I still think it's probably the best guess. Yeah, it feels satisfying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the errata. Thank you so much. Both of those are really edifying pieces of detective work that you guys have done, and it is awesome that we are all contributing to this body of research. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sweet. So moving on to the responses about the catacombs and the tomb. This is from Gavin via contact. He says, I remember the first time I took a jaunt down to the infamous catacombs and subsequently got my ass handed to me by some undying skeletons. Sorry, I mispronounced that. It should be arse. I said ass, because this is America. When I finally leveled up and was at the stage where I needed to go back down there, I did so with trepidation and not a small amount of dread. It was the darkness and the fear of the unknown, mainly. Armed with my divine axe and some deep breaths, I stepped forward. An hour or so, and quite a few deaths later, I completely by accident stumbled across the undead blacksmith they call Vamos, who, by the way, I thought was going to hand me a new one when he slowly approached. After leaving Vamos, I once again died very quickly to what speedily became my most hated enemy in the game, bone wheel skeletons. How I hated them! I hadn't ventured into the painted world at this stage, so this was my first taste of them. Having died what seemed about 80 times, I finally made it to what I have to say was a very easy boss, Pinwheel. Feeling cocky and a little overconfident, I strolled on into the Tomb of Giants, only to be taught one more time that the game was in charge, as it threw giant bone dogs at me, to which I only had one response. Instant death.
I like that sentence at the end.
Yeah.
I only had one response. Instant death.
He curled up like a ball. It was his only defense.
Yeah. No exclamation point. That's what I would do if I was ever in an ocean full of jellyfish. That would be my only response is instant death.
Instant death. Are you allergic?
No, I'm terrified of them.
Okay.
Like I'm allergic the same way everyone is allergic to something that can sting you and give you respiratory arrest.
That everybody is allergic to something poisonous.
That if it touches you, you have to stop breathing. Like I'm allergic in that way.
You have to. It's the law.
It's not the law. It's the chemical. That
I know.
They do. These things are fuckers, man.
Yeah. I always love the jellyfish room at the aquarium, though.
Me too. Like they're fascinating, but like I'm glad there's that glass between me and them.
Yeah.
That's probably how I would feel about bone wheel skeletons. Like imagine like a Lordran zoo where like they bring the kids and you go and you use the Waxorama and get your little like, miniature bone wheel skeleton, and then you go look at them and they're just harmlessly clinking against the glass, like clink, 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 trying to roll into you all impotently.
Yeah.
I want that.
Give them like a little BMX course.
Yeah.
That's their habitat.
Yeah. I was trying to remember the name of a famous BMXer.
Dave Mira.
There we go. Little Dave Mears. Little cute Dave Mears. I want that. Man, I want this Lordran Zoo. That's a good t-shirt or comic idea. We didn't talk about how Vamos is introduced when he like comes forward like he's going to smash you and then just bashes your way out.
Yeah.
That's a nice little cutscene.
Yeah. They introduce him like a boss. I mean, like a very tough enemy in the game, not like a boss. Like,
yeah.
Nah, never mind.
We know your proclivities for thug speak, like are well known, but I can tell when you're not doing it.
Okay. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to. I don't know if it makes me kind of inexperienced, but I have never once contacted Vamos.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
I didn't do it until I was trying to prepare for my New Game Plus and my first character.
I thought you were going to say it makes me sound inexperienced, but I'm not scared of jellyfish.
Besides jellyfish, the thing I'm most afraid of before that are bees for the very same reason.
Pretty much any animal that can and wants to hurt us. Like did I ever tell you on Mike? Cole, did I ever tell you my Wikipedia vandalism story?
No.
It's not that much of a story, but it's funny to me. Is that I went into the Wikipedia entry for scorpions. And I added a line like in the middle of the text and I just said, in addition, other than man, this is the only animal that kills for pleasure. And, and it was there for 30 seconds before it got erased. Like somebody, and I know people get alerts, but I'm just imagining like whoever the Wikipedia nerd is who's like dominion over the scorpion kingdom. Just as like his little phone, like, oh, that's weird. No.
I was hoping you had mistakenly edited the banned scorpions Wikipedia page.
The only band that's been known to kill for pleasure.
Somehow I think that's not true.
That's true. There are lots of bands that kill. There's a whole Norwegian death metal scene.
Yeah,
black metal.
exactly.
Haven't you guys ever seen Softly Into the Light or whatever that
Burning
documentary
churches, Gary.
Yeah, and murdering people. There's a really good Netflix Instant Queue documentary.
Yeah,
about Norwegian black metal. Mm-hmm. And like one of the guys killed himself, and they like the cover of his where they found his corpse. So it was on their album, and then they wore parts of him. Like one of the guys wears a necklace that has parts of him on it.
Yeah.
Was it like? I think was it Burzum? I don't know.
Yeah, Burzum. They keep talking about Burzum's like the I think it might be the original guy from Burzum. Yeah. But So thank you, Andrew, for that for reminding me of Burzum.
That was Gavin.
Oh, Gavin. I'm sorry. I'm thinking Gavin. Andrew, however, via contact says, talking about the areas that we were just talking about, says, oh man, 2 areas that rely heavily on trial and error. One being how much the saying, curiosity killed the cat, is made manifest if you happen to wander into the cemetery before you're ready. And then later on, when stumbling and plummeting around in the dark if you don't have a necromancer drop a skull lantern. From a design standpoint, both of these areas are great for atmosphere, especially in the Tomb of the Giants, seeing the glowing eyes in the distance, and then hearing that hungry chuffing of one of the dog-like skeleton creatures. Creepy stuff. Chuffing is the perfect verb for that.
Yeah.
That's me saying that. Running blind through here after aggroing a crowd of monsters can be a terrifying experience too. As frustrating as it can be, I had a lot of fun taking the Tomb of the Giants bit by bit, stressing out on where the hell the next bonfire was. Knowing if I fell or got impaled by one of those enormous arrows the Giants use that seemingly come flying out of nowhere, I'd be propelled back up to the catacombs really kept me on edge. you know exactly what makes a Dark Souls experience worlds apart and better than just about any other series. What makes this section all the more fun is when finally getting to a semi-lit area, being able to remove the sunlight maggot helm, seemingly safe and sound, only to move forward and get invaded by Paladin Leroy. That guy. That fucking guy.
Hey, Vincent Nico, this guy. This guy right here.
This guy right here. He's a paladin or something.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Agreed. All true. Chuffing. The skeleton archers don't seem to knock me back, but I just had a thought. Like, what if those guys had the same, had the Dragon Slayer?
I was going to ask, which arrows are bigger?
They're both. Oh, I love getting hit by the skeletons in the Tomb of the Giants because you walk around with this gigantic cartoon arrow sticking out of you for, it's just like bone white and just ridiculous looking. But they don't knock you back. If they did, fuck this place. Like that would be incredible.
My favorite. I didn't remark on it, but when you're running down the bone tower path, and there's that ambush. So there's the one bone archer that you can see, and there's the other one waiting around the corner. Every time I do it, I forget that guy's there, and he kicks me off the ledge. Just like blah, down I go. So
I like that one too because that's where the bone tower ducks down and then rises up behind you.
Yeah, I think it's a second one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, one of them goes away then. I mean, does it really matter whether it's the same one? Like, one of them goes away, but then another one appears behind you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of trapping you in. Like, I like that little ambush quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Will, what does Levi say?
Okay, Levi says via contact, the Tomb of the Giants is perhaps the perfect combo of dungeon crawl and survival horror-esque gameplay. Giant enemies, creepy ambience, low visibility, and for a turtling tank character who relies heavily on their shield, giving it up for the lanterns so I could see just added to the tension. I really enjoyed this area and the boss fight. Even though Nito is pretty easy, he is my favorite lord, and it was awesome to see him up close. Well, he thought he was easy. I did find Ria's situation a bit terrifying. Being stranded in a pitch black hole, trying to remain still and silent so two crazy zombies who used to be your friends can't find you and kill you. The horror. The horror.
Yeah.
Hey, Vincent Nico, the horror, eh?
Well, what's scarier is these guys are like 5 feet away from her and they can't find her.
Yeah.
Yeah, aggro range. Well, it's dark. The yeah, all true. Who's my favorite lord? Maybe Nito.
Is there a MySpace quiz? Which lord are you?
Are you a Nito, or are you do you enjoy capturing maidens, or do you enjoy sleeping? You might be a Seath, or you might be a Nito. I think Nito is probably my favorite too. Just chilling.
Coolest design.
Yeah.
I dig him.
Yeah, even though the Bed of Chaos, when it gets into full bloom, is a really cool design too.
Yeah.
So those will be my two favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, Cole, why don't you wrap us up with Jeremy here?
Yeah. So Jeremy Greer, our friend of the show, via Facebook, says, I really wish I had thought to do PvP Corner sooner. PvP Corner, Gary?
Yeah. Yeah, I wish that he had too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That would have been a really cool idea to have this for each area and just kind of tell a PvP story about each one.
Yeah.
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 But
he goes on to say, everyone knows that if you hit the catacombs early, Patches will be waiting for you to cross over the second bridge. As soon as you get in the middle, he'll flip the switch, and off you go into the Bone Wheel Pit. I like to head down there on a high soul level character and use the dried finger until I get invaded. I camp out at the switch and wait for an invader to come hopping down. They always hop down for some reason. As soon as they land, I flip the switch and down they go. Only a few have managed to make it across. You can also bait them into stopping on the bridge by dropping some rubbish or dung pies, adding insult to injury. I didn't know. So if you fall off, do you just land in the Bone Wheel Pit? Is that a sequence break?
it's too far of a drop.
Oh, okay. So there's
on the bridge, you'll
there.
die. Yeah.
Okay. He goes on to say, Tomb of the Giants isn't much PvP wise, although I will say that being Gravelorder down here is probably the worst thing ever. Red Phantom versions of those Skeledogs are incredibly frightening.
Yeah,
We all just kind of shivered.
Yeah, yipes.
Yeah.
Yipes.
And I like that he that he puts piles of shit on the bridge to entice would-be invaders.
Yeah, it's got to be literal dung piles for that to work.
Yeah.
Like I love that being a uniquely video game situation. Like, if there is a potentially dangerous area and I saw something that I might want to pick up, I could see from a distance that it's feces and I don't want to touch it. But just like the fact that, it's very video gamey that you don't know what this is until you pick it up, it's unique to the language of video games.
Right.
Because otherwise I would be picking up shit left and right.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? It could be gold. It could be fucking
Shit.
Nintendo 64s. It could be shit. Who even knows? Like,
We are the dreamers of dreams, Gary.
so that's thank you guys for your comments. There's still I don't think we put out the call for comments in the last episode.
No.
But by the time you hear this, there is still time to get in touch with us about your comments on the DLC.
Yes.
The entire Oratorius of the Abyss.
So usual admin stuff, iTunes, Facebook. By the time you hear this, we will have gotten our 200th Facebook fan, which is awesome. iTunes ratings and reviews always help, especially as we go into the new season. If you want to support the show monetarily, you can buy stuff off of Amazon through our tip jar link, and that doesn't cost you anything extra. We get a little bit of kickback from it. Am I missing anything, Gary?
No, just and Will,
Yes.
by the time this comes out, do you think will you have started the Bastion? Where can people find your thoughts on Bastion?
Yes, please.
Hopefully. It's at www.backlogkiller.com, disguising the blogspot back end on that. But yeah, hopefully I'll be finished, at least have the initial write-up done. And I'm looking forward to playing a shorter game this time.
Yeah, I imagine so. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, cool. I think until next time, praise the sun.
Praise the sun?
Praise the pun.
Thank you.
Yay!
We did it.
We should have told you when we finished that you'd have another opportunity.
Oh, yeah. And now you can get deleted scenes, too.
Varianox.
Like Juice was on the radio the other day, and I thought of you guys.
Oh. That's very flattering. Lakini's Juice. What a weird fucking single that is.
Yeah.
That's one of the, that guy in that band, it's the kind of music where he's constantly in the videos, taking one step forward and putting both his arms up.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to some other stuff, and then the next thing he's doing it again. I think in that Lakini's Juice video, he takes one step forward and slowly puts his arms up 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can name a few of their singles, so...
Well, we named, I
That's
think,
pretty
6 of them, 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Did you do All Over You?
No, yeah, all over you.
Throwing the drama all over you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of slipped in, but...
Yeah. There's one line that has 7 of them.
Yeah. They're real backloaded.
Yeah.
The front half is kind of the visual stuff, and then... Yeah. The back end is more of the rest of it. What was I going to say about live? Oh, I can pinpoint the exact, probably the time where I stopped watching MTV, because I knew the video for Lakini's Juice, but other people were like, yeah, Dream of the Dolphins, which was their next single from that album. And I never heard that song before.
I don't know.
So sometime between their lead-off single and the next single is when I stopped watching MTV entirely. I did not know Dream of the Dolphins.
So a stray bullet hit the clock, so we knew exactly when the murder
Yeah, exactly.
occurred.
My watch has been magnetized. It's like when those people who found out the day that Ice-T had a good day. You ever seen that?
What?
Or Ice Cube?
No.
You know the Ice Cube song Good Day?
Yeah.
Some internet detectives took clues from the lyrics and figured out what the date of it is. And it's pretty crazy. It works pretty well. It's pretty inarguable. This is this day. It's because he talks about specific sports teams winning and the temperature and stuff like that.
That's about it. What kind of song is that? It's just read a page in the Farmer's Almanac.
Have you ever heard that song? It's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of
much.
yeah.
Oh man.
Varianox.
I am back.
I am back as well. Good
I'm
timing. I'm still.
All of our faucets fill at approximately the same rate.
That's true. I'm glad that the Midwest is still doing good as far as faucet technology goes.
Yeah.
So we got the East, the Midwest, and the West.
Yeah, the pan-coastal. Yep.
Pods across America.
I know. Let's all hold
Let's
conversation.
Oh, that's funny. Pods across America.
Very Knox.
Dun, 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 dun.
I was gonna be like, no, praise the pun, but I was like, oh,
Praise the fun. I would have allowed it.
well, I wouldn't be like, well, shit. Now we need to re-record the whole thing.
Let's scratch it, boys.
All right, that was a good dry run.
Yeah. The thing you don't know, Will, is we do all of our shows twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. We always start over at the end.
Oh, well,
We try to set aside about 8 or 10 hours
Yeah. This is a.
to do it 3 days a week.
Ooh, you didn't know what you signed up for, did you? You fucked up.
Very Knox.
I will read takes or
Oh,
talk
I didn't see.
Take.
Oh,
Yeah.
talking.
Take.
Oh, I didn't see that.
take. I'm an idiot.
Take.
Please,
He's not a Final Fantasy 1 character.
Very Knox.
This was my very first taste of them. I'm going to retake that.
Okay.
Poor editing.
oh, we can retake.
Sorry.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon